Every once in a while, a show takes the biggest risk of its entire run in a single episode, and that's exactly what happens here. This episode of Brea takes two seemingly separate mysteries that have been simmering since the pilot and slams them together in a way nobody saw coming. Without spoiling too much right away, this arc digs into where the ancient tribe living in the sinkhole came from, and it finally starts answering the question that has haunted one of the show's lead characters from day one. Why does he keep having visions he can't explain? Stick around, because the final few minutes of this episode completely reshape how you'll watch the rest of the series. Brea is an American science fiction drama that premiered on NBC in 2021. Created by David Applebaum, the show streams on Peacock and centers on a massive sinkhole opening in the middle of Los Angeles, swallowing people, cars, and a chunk of the city into a prehistoric world thousands of years in the past. This particular hour is the 8th episode of Season 1, titled Origins, which originally aired on November 16, 2021. The series blends survival drama with time travel mystery, and this episode is widely considered one of the biggest turning points of the first season. With winter weather setting in down in the prehistoric world, the group of survivors realizes they can no longer just scrape by day to day. They need real skills to survive long term. That need pushes Eve, Levi, and Ty back toward the fortified camp they barely escaped from earlier in the season, hoping its inhabitants might teach them how to endure the brutal conditions of 10,000 BC. Meanwhile, up on the surface, Gavin's guilt over the pain his choices have caused Izzy starts eating away at their relationship, just as his mysterious visions intensify. By the end of the hour, those two storylines, the ancient tribe and Gavin's fractured memories, turn out to be far more connected than anyone expected. The Boy in the Woods. The episode opens with the camp still recovering from the freak winter storm. As the survivors discuss how unprepared they are for a real prehistoric winter, they hear a commotion in the trees. Lily spots someone in the woods, and Eve, Levi, and the others give chase, eventually catching a small blonde boy trying to flee the camp. In the scramble, the boy injures his wrist and is patched up by Sam. The survivors realize he isn't just a random wanderer. He's connected to the fortified village they encountered earlier in the season, the one that captured and nearly killed some of them before, rather than treating the boy as a threat. Eve and Ty push back against Sam's suspicion that he might be some kind of spy. They insist he's just a scared kid. Seeing an opportunity, the group decides to return him to his people, hoping that goodwill gesture might open the door to an alliance, one that could teach them how to actually survive the coming winter. Driving the boy home, the group is ambushed once again by members of the tribe, who take them captive and haul them back to the village. It's there that the show finally slows down to properly introduce the tribe's internal structure. Eve, Levi, Para, and Ty learn that Para is the actual leader of the Tongva village, and that the boy named Isaiah is the grandson of the older, guarded man named Silas, someone the survivors have already crossed paths with under tense circumstances. Silas is furious that Isaiah snuck off to the clearing again, hinting that this isn't the first time the boy has wandered toward the surface survivors' camp, and that his fascination with them may be more than simple curiosity. As trust slowly starts to build between the two groups, an old wound reopens. Levi reveals that Silas had been carrying the wallet belonging to Ed, one of the show's earlier characters who had died by electrocution several episodes prior. This immediately casts suspicion on Silas as either a killer or, at the very least, someone hiding something. When confronted, Silas claims he simply found Eddie already dead and took the wallet hoping it would help him understand more about the Sky People, the tribe's term for the modern-day survivors, who keep falling into their world. Para steps in to defend him, revealing that someone else entirely has been responsible for the killings in this era, and that the tribe's sacred handprint symbol is meant to represent protection, not violence, reframing an image the survivors had assumed was threatening. Just as the group starts untangling one mystery, a new crisis erupts. Word comes that Isaiah has been taken. The kidnapper is a woman named Aldridge, and to everyone's shock, Silas immediately recognizes her, revealing a history between them that no one else was aware of. True to her secretive nature throughout the series, Aldridge refuses to hand Isaiah over, cryptically telling Silas that he already knows how important the boy is. In a shocking burst of violence, Silas stabs Aldridge and takes Isaiah back by force. While all this unfolds, the story shifts briefly to the other survivors in the main camp. Riley grows increasingly concerned about Sam's erratic behavior, especially after Sam handcuffs Lily's sister, Veronica, to a car steering wheel out of paranoia when she's caught lurking nearby. When Veronica suffers what looks like a panic attack and stops breathing, Sam's training kicks in, and he manages to save her life. In the emotional aftermath, Sam finally opens up to Riley, revealing that he has post-traumatic stress from his military service in Afghanistan, and that he had been relying on anti-anxiety medication he has now completely run out of. It's a quieter, more grounded moment in an episode that's otherwise building toward a massive twist, and it adds a layer of humanity to a character who had mostly been defined by his tough exterior. Back at the fort, the group finds Aldridge bleeding out from Silas's attack. Despite her injuries, she uses her last moments of strength to deliver information clearly meant only for Eve. She tells Eve that Isaiah is special, that he has something important he's meant to do, and that finding him matters more than anything else. When Eve presses her on why this responsibility falls to her specifically, Aldridge responds by asking if Eve truly has no idea who the boy actually is. That question hangs in the air right up until the final moments of the episode, when the show delivers its gut-punch twist through Gavin's ongoing, unexplained visions, which the show had been framing as some kind of unclear psychic ability. The audience and Gavin both realize the truth at the same time. Gavin is Isaiah. The visions were never premonitions or telepathy, they were memories. As a child, he had somehow been pulled through a portal into the modern world, arriving decades before the present-day sinkhole ever opened, and was raised without any memory of where he truly came from. The story specifies that this displacement happened on November 16, 1988, meaning Gavin has effectively been living an entire lifetime disconnected from his real origin. Eve, one of the show's central figures, driven by a fierce protective instinct, especially toward children. Her insistence on trusting Isaiah instead of treating him as a threat sets the entire episode's events into motion. Levi, Eve's ex-husband, pragmatic and quick to notice inconsistencies, such as spotting Eddie's wallet on Silas. Ty, Eve and Levi's son, who continues to build trust with the tribe alongside his parents. Silas, the tribe's guarded, secretive elder and Isia's grandfather. His hidden history with Aldridge and his violent response to her suggest he's protecting a much larger secret about Isia's true identity. Para, the tribe's actual leader, who works to keep peace between her people and the surface survivors while defending Silas's actions. Isaiah, a young boy from the tribe whose true identity is the episode's central twist. Gavin Harris, a surface world character whose unexplained visions have plagued him since the series began, revealed here to actually be fragmented childhood memories from his life as Isaiah. Aldridge, Dr. Rebecca Aldridge, a recurring, mysterious figure with hidden knowledge about the sinkholes and Gavin's past, whose dying words deliver the episode's biggest reveal. Sam, a survivor whose composed exterior hides unresolved trauma from military service, which surfaces during the Veronica crisis. Riley, Sam's confidant, whose concern for him leads to an emotional, honest conversation. The single biggest twist of the episode, and arguably of the season, is the revelation that Gavin and Isaiah are the same person, separated by decades and an unexplained trip through time. This retroactively reframes every one of Gavin's visions shown earlier in the season, transforming what looked like a supernatural ability into a much more personal, tragic story about a boy who lost his entire world. The episode ends on Aldridge's dying insistence that Isia's survival is critical, paired with the audience's discovery that Isaiah is actually Gavin as a child. This means Gavin isn't just a modern-day man trapped in an ancient world. He originally came from that ancient world, disappeared from it as a boy, and is now unknowingly walking back into his own forgotten past. It reframes his entire arc, suggesting his fixation on the sinkhole and his visions were never random. They were his subconscious trying to process memories of a life he doesn't consciously remember. According to critics covering the episode, the tribe's handprint symbol, previously assumed to be a mark left by a killer, is actually explained here as a symbol of protection, a detail that recontextualizes earlier tension between the groups. This twist connects directly back to earlier moments involving Gavin's visions throughout the season, and sets up future episodes where his history as Izien becomes central to understanding the sinkhole's mysteries and his personal journey. Reviewers were divided on this episode, with some calling it a bold, ambitious risk and others describing the first 40 minutes as slow-going before the twist landed. Regardless, Origins is frequently cited as a defining turning point for the show's mythology. Origins takes a huge swing, folding two mysteries into one and forcing viewers to rethink everything they thought they understood about Gavin, whether or not it fully lands. It's an episode that changes the trajectory of the entire series. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let us know your thoughts, theories, or favorite moments from this episode in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Screen Central for more web series, TV series, and movie breakdowns, ending explained videos, and detailed episode analyses, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.